Look, how important has the support from the UK been in this awful conflict so far?
Yeah, very important, and we appreciate it. I mean, we appreciate all the support that we're getting from our allies and from Britain in particular.
And how important was yesterday's visit by Boris Johnson?
Again, that's an important sign. Has symbolic value, but beyond that, I mean, obviously, Boris Johnson brought important news. There was this annunciation of new help, new military help, new training programs, and that's vital at this stage.
And in terms of what you're receiving, not just from the UK, but from the rest of the world, I mean, certainly we know the United States are meant to be sending over some pretty sophisticated hardware. Is the Ukrainian army now absolutely dependent on these supplies being sent through?
Well, the answer is yes, because Russia has managed to destroy most of our military facilities, most of our military production sites, and we have serious trouble producing ammunition ourselves, for example, and new equipment ourselves. So Russia is still intact. Nobody's bombarded their facilities. However, our facilities have been destroyed. So that has made us in some way even much more dependent on Western supplies than we used to be.
What is it like for you at the moment, being in that inner circle, if you like, of people around President Zelenskyy? What is the mood like? What sort of long days must you be working? How worried are you about the future?
Yeah, so everybody got used to what it is, what life is like now. We've got used to working irregular hours. We've got used to doing things that we didn't used to do before. So it obviously takes a toll on everyone. The fact that the war is going on, the war is raging on, people are dying. Everyone knows people who have died by now. I have plenty of close acquaintances that have been killed by now, which wasn't the case over the 8 years from 2014. So this is really different this time around. But we have to do what we have to do. So it's our job, and we're obviously in this to defend our country.
There is hearing what the experts over here are saying, and with the head of the British Armed Forces saying he believes Russia has made, for significant losses, very, very few gains, but even so saying he expected this to last for a considerable amount of time. Is President Zelenskyy braced for the long term here?
Well, I think all of Ukraine is braced for the long term, or is ready for a continual, lengthy war effort, because we know that Russia is not going to give up. The Russian regime is not going to just withdraw their troops. They're obviously in this to, gain whatever they can. And so we need to resist as long as we can, and then, basically wait until something materially changes within Russia, because that's what's ultimately going to change the situation. There is nothing else that will really resolve this war, bring an end to this conflict, because it's the source of it is the Russian regime. And so that's where we need to, address this whole problem.
I mean, clearly you've made a very great friend with Britain, with the United Kingdom, and also with other countries. We saw the recent visit by the President of Romania, Emmanuel Macron, and others, to talk about possible candidacy for the EU. I know that their war is still continuing and must be terrible for you, but you are building real relationships for the future, aren't you?
Absolutely. I mean, I hope we had these relationships before, but they've definitely grown closer over the last few months. That is true. And, we're obviously grateful for the support that we received in terms of our candidacy to the European Union. That was, you referred to the meetings with the Romanian president, with Macron, Scholz, the German chancellor came around for the first time. So all of these things, are vital. And, we appreciate the support that we're getting from the EU and the close association that we're building.
What can you tell us about President Zelenskyy? Because most of us here in the UK, well, we knew the name, but we didn't know much more about him, really, apart from the fact he used to be, a comedian, wasn't he, on Ukrainian television. And, of course, now we see him as this man who was standing firm in the face of Russian aggression. As someone who works with him very closely, what can you tell us about President Zelenskyy as a man, as a human being?
Yeah, well, first of all, he wasn't just an actor or a comedian, like you said. He was an entrepreneur. He had his own media production company over many, many years, and he's built it up successfully with his partner. So that's just for some perspective. But he's basically what he appears to be like on camera. He's just very open, very honest, very down to earth. He's the type of person that everybody gets on with really, really well. And he's been a great leader during this very hard time. In fact, many would say he almost, was a greater leader during the war than before. That's an opinion that you can often hear. So obviously, he's managed to consolidate the country, consolidate the people in this fight, and that's what he continues to do.
Do you get any sort of intelligence feedback from Russia or any of the things that you're doing at the moment, the incredible defence you're putting up and the friends you're making throughout the rest of the world? Do you get any intelligence back from how President Putin is taking all of this?
Well, we have some indication. I mean, obviously, he is unhappy. He expected different. He expected our resistance to last maybe a couple of days, and then he would have basically toppled our government, reinstated his own full control over the country and so on. Obviously, all of these things have failed, so he isn't very happy. But we know that he is, we know who he is, we know how he thinks, and we know that he's just going to continue for as long as he has the resources to do so. That means both resources that Russia has and can employ in the war effort, but also him personally, right? So as long as he has the power and he is not threatened in any direct way in terms of his power. So that's the bad news for us, because that will mean that the conflict, the war will drag on. Because right now we're waiting for the weapons to really launch a counteroffensive, and Russia still has the resources to just push on.
What do you say to Ukrainian people here in the UK and who may be watching from all over the world actually this morning, or listening all over the world? There was a conference this week, Build Back Better, held in London to work out how to rebuild Ukraine once this comes to an end, when that happens. But this is going to be a very long and a very difficult process, getting Ukraine back on its feet. So what is the message from you and your president in terms of what these people can expect, how this process is going to work?
Well, the message is that for sure we're going to rebuild our country. We're going to build it back better, as you said. But we need to win the war first. So we'd like our people, to remain strong, remain patient, because obviously this is dragging on. We're doing our best to end the war on our terms, but it's not going to happen tomorrow, probably. So, but ultimately, we will build back our country, and we will make it stronger. And the reconstruction effort will be there. Unfortunately, I think some of the talk about the reconstruction effort is premature, because we know that even if we started the reconstruction right now in the liberated areas north of Kiev, Russia would, do its utmost to destroy exactly those places, because it has every incentive to send a signal that no reconstruction is possible. So what we have to do is we have to start reconstruction of all the non-physical facilities of our institutions, if you want, of our, increase the capabilities for people to work from home, and so on and so forth. And that's what we're doing, besides, renewing the basic services that people need in the liberated areas, like water, food, electricity, and so on. But the messages will be, restoring our country soon, hopefully.
Alexander Rodniewski, it's very good to talk to you this morning. We appreciate it. We hope you will pass our best wishes on to President Zelenskyy. And if he would like to talk to the British people directly, he'd be very welcome to come on the programme as well. And there'll be a lot of people who'd be very interested to hear what he was saying directly to them. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.